Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for World Cup Fantasy Football. My name is Dan and today we are doing a tier list for Matchday 2, trying to identify some players that you guys are talking about potentially bringing in to your Matchday 2 team, and we're going to put them all on a tier list today. If you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like, massively helps out the channel, and do subscribe if you want more World Cup Fantasy content to help you succeed at this game. Let's get cracking. Okay, so today, guys, we're going to go through some players that I think are interesting players, that people are talking about. We're going to go through some players that scored very well in Matchday 1 so far. So, yeah, we're not going to go through too many big players today. You don't need me to tell you that Mbappe is a good pick, or that Messi is a good pick, or Kane is a good pick. So we're going to try and go for some more interesting options today. If there's anyone on this tier list that I haven't spoken about, please do feel free to leave a comment, and I will rate them in the comment section as well. But first of all, guys, let's just go through some players. So first of all, I want to start off with some Netherlands players. So first of all, Denzel Dumfries, I'm going to put pretty high. I'm going to put him as a great option just because that has that ability to score. The fixture is Ecuador, which I don't think is an amazing fixture from an attacking point of view, because Ecuador have been very, very difficult to score goals against typically. We've seen the likes of Argentina and Brazil draw 0-0 with Ecuador. So although they don't have very good attackers, they do seem to be very good defensively. And again, they got another clean sheet against Qatar in the opening game. Let's not overrate them too much based on that game, but at the same time, we do have to respect their defense there. So I'm not going to rate their attackers too highly, but I do think there are some good options in attack. First of all, let's go for Gakpo. So I'm going to put him absolutely in optional. I know probably you guys would want me to put him a little bit higher than that, but I don't think I am actually going to. I think I'm actually even debating putting him in the meh category, just because he does take up one of those forward slots. And we have to recognize that in this World Cup fantasy game, all of the wingers, all of the attacking players, that all seem to be listed as forwards, and we only have 3 slots available. So those big hitting players, you know, we are limited in many ways of how many we can actually fit in. Is there space for Gakpo in our teams, considering he's not even going to be playing as a striker? He plays kind of behind the strikers in an essential attacking midfield position. I don't know if he's going to get too many opportunities to score, especially against Ecuador. I do feel like there are other players to go for. So for now, Gakpo in optional, I do feel like he could move into a great option, or maybe even a must-have when we get to that final Matchday 3 fixture against Qatar. But for now, I think he's optional, but not necessarily a player you have to get. Bergwijn, I think, is a great option still, just because now we do know that midfielders are going to get 7 points per goal, and Bergwijn is playing as a striker, and he is going to play again as a striker in the next game. So for that reason, I do think he's very good. Toby should be back in this game as well. I think I'm actually going to put him maybe in optional, just because he's quite expensive, but I do think he's a great option, just because he is that main attacking threat for the Netherlands when he is available, when he is fit. He's going to be on penalties, corners, free kicks, everything as well. So he's going to be taking set pieces. He's just going to have a lot of opportunities to get points, more so than some of his teammates, you would think. Let's go to some Argentina players. I know we were a little bit disappointed in the opening game, but congratulations to Saudi Arabia. They won fair and square. And going into this next game against Mexico, I do have some significant doubts about Argentina. So Di Maria is going to go all the way down to the meh category, just because I wasn't that impressed by Argentina at all. I think maybe he could be optional, but he is a little bit expensive for a fixture that I don't think is amazing. Mexico can be a tough team to play against. Lautaro Martinez, I think, is going to go into the meh category as well, just because he is a forward and it's kind of difficult to fit in all the forwards. And I look at some of the other forwards that are not the, you know, you've got your Mbappes, you've got your Kanes, you've got your Neymars, etc., etc. But then after that, I feel like if you're going for some other cheaper forwards, we do want to be looking at those forwards with those insanely good fixtures, and I don't think that's what Argentina have. We want to look for that upside here. I do think Argentina will bounce back, but am I too excited in this fixture? Probably not. Mela, I'm going to put in, I think I'm going to put him in meh, maybe even avoid. It is a game against France, and I know that Denmark have a very good record against France, but I feel like even in a fixture like this, you've kind of fancy France to get a goal, don't you? You know, the likes of Mbappe and Giroud in good form, doing very well at the moment. And I know that Denmark have been frustrating for France in the kind of the last year, but at the same time, it's a difficult one. But let's throw in some France players in here anyway. I think Giroud, even though I don't love this fixture, I feel like the position that Giroud is playing as a central striker with all of this creativity and talent behind him, he's got to be a good option, really. I am going to put him up here. So even though the fixture is not amazing, I still feel like he is worth a good shout. A potential player to score a goal, and maybe not more than 1 or 2 goals in this game. I don't think France are going to destroy Denmark, but even if they win 1 or 2-0, you do fancy Giroud as potentially a player who is going to be getting the points there. Rabiot scored very well in the opening fixture, but I can't see him doing too much in the second one, so I'm going to put him down in a void. Theo Hernandez, he obviously wasn't expected to start the opening game, but he did come in, provided some good creativity. Again, Denmark are a tricky team. I think maybe we put Theo Hernandez in optional just because he is a nice prize. And Denmark didn't look like they were too dangerous in attack. Like you know, I feel like there's potential for France to keep a clean sheet here. 5 million for a defender for France who does have that creativity and that attacking ability. It's actually quite nice, I guess. It's a good price, so therefore he's in there. We're going to put Trossard in a void. We know now that he is not started in the game for Belgium, so Hazard has started it ahead of Trossard in their game against Canada, so therefore it's difficult to say that he is a player to pick. I know he's very cheap, but still, I think we have to put him in there. Let's go for some Spanish players next, who played very well against Costa Rica, but I don't want us to get too excited. Now, let's start off with Ferran Torres, who I am going to put in the meh category. I'm not super excited about Ferran Torres, to be honest, just because I feel like there is potential for him to be rotated with the likes of Sarabia or Morata in the next game. I know the next game is against Germany as well, which is not an ideal fixture. I know Germany lost today, but at the same time, I would not use that Spain game that we saw today against Costa Rica. That was like a training game, essentially, for them. We really should not expect Spain to be able to do that every game. That was a real exceptional circumstance. So, yeah, I don't think we've learned too much about Spain, unfortunately. But what I do know is that Torres has the potential to be rotated or not play, you know, not even make it to 60 minutes. Again, he's taken up one of those forward slots. The good thing about Dani Olmo, however, is that he doesn't take up a forward slot. So if you do feel like Spain are going to do very well against Germany, I wouldn't be too confident or excited about that one, but you know, there's potential there. Maybe we'd move Olmo down into the meh category, but I guess he's optional just because he is a midfielder. 8 million is a good price for him as well, and he did play a very, very good game. But again, I don't want to read too much into it. Maybe we drop him down into the meh category just because there's potential for rotation again, which is just difficult. Alba, do I fancy him for a clean sheet? No, but I do like how attacking he is for Spain. I do like how good he is for Spain. He is just on another level for Spain. I really feel like that is the case, which is why I put him in my team. But again, do we fancy him against Germany? I just don't want to assume that Spain are suddenly really good, and I don't want to assume that Germany are suddenly very bad. A clean sheet is probably not massively likely in this game, and that's your primary source of, you know, scoring for defenders. Is there potential for goals or assists? Yes, definitely, but I think there are better options to look at throughout the World Cup. I'm going to put Richarlison in the optional category, I think, because at 7.5 million, that is a really good price for a forward who we think is going to start for Brazil. Let's go for some England players. We haven't spoken about England today. So, Saka, great option. Really like him. He's up against USA next, and judging by that opening performance, and Iran are not a bad team, by the way. We need to remember that. You have to look at that performance and say, Saka, you are on one. You are a very, very good player. We quite like you. Let's seriously think about putting him in to our team. So, yeah, Saka, great option, I think. I think he's a seriously good option. A couple of other England players. I'm going to put Bellingham down in the avoid category. I know he did very well in that game, but Bellingham, not particularly known for getting goals. You know, not even particularly known for getting assists in this England team. So, for that reason, I think 7.5 million is a lot of money for what he offers. I think you can get a similar kind of player who will get a similar amount of points for a lot cheaper. So, I don't think he's a player I'd necessarily be looking to go for. Fantastic player, obviously, but I don't think he's very well suited to fantasy, even though he did score in that opening game. I can't see that happening every game, to be honest. And finally, let's put Trippier in. I think he is optional, Trippier. He's a reasonably good option. I think I prefer Luke Shaw at the moment. I didn't think Trippier actually had a very good game, but I think Trippier is still optional. That USA team didn't look like they were going to score an insane amount of goals, really, in that game, did they? And you would back an England team, you know, if they, you know, don't go 4 or 5 goals up, maybe there isn't you know, the lapse of concentration later on in the game. Maybe they can keep things a little bit more solid there. Right, let's pick some slightly differential players from some different teams. I want to talk about Croatia for a second because they do play Canada next, which is a really, really nice fixture. I love Modric for this fixture, so I'm going to put him right up there in a great option. We're going to hopefully, finally, we're going to start seeing some points for passes and tackles. And, you know, Modric is going to be on all of those set pieces as well, so he's going to naturally pick up points that way, assuming they are added, which hopefully the World Cup Fantasy game is going to be fixed soon. I wish I could tell you more. I just hope it's fixed very soon. And Perisic as well. I think I'm going to put him slightly lower just because I don't think he offers nearly as much as Modric, but he still does offer a little bit. He is going to be playing in those advanced positions, and I do think he is a genuine option and a really nice differential to go for in this fixture against Canada. So yeah, Perisic, kind of like him. He's not like as much of a superstar for Croatia as Modric. He's not going to score as frequently or get as many assists as Modric necessarily, but he still does offer us something, and he is a little bit cheaper that does reflect that. And hopefully he's going to continue to play in those advanced positions as well. Now, I know a few of you guys have wanted me to speak about some Iran players, so let's go for that. The game is against Wales, and I'm going to put Taremi in the meh category. I'm sorry. Yeah, obviously a fantastic striker on penalties as well, and if anyone is going to score against Wales, it is going to be him, but do we have room for him? Do you prefer Taremi to the likes of Richarlison or Gakpo or, you know, Depay or some of these other forwards, Giroud? All players kind of in a similar kind of price bracket? Probably not. I mean, there's arguments to bump him up to the optional category because he could be an interesting differential, but at the same time, is he worth using one of our forward slots on him? That one I am not convinced by. Jahanbakhsh, I'm also going to put pretty low. I'm going to put him in the meh category. Yeah. If you're going to go for an Iran player, I think it's got to be Taremi. And I don't want us to underrate Wales either. I think maybe, you know, if you're going to go for a player like Jahanbakhsh, he could be okay, but I think I would rather go for some more established, high, you know, real big players playing against some of those easy fixtures. And I wasn't too impressed by Iran in that opening game, other than Taremi, who we know is a beast. We know he's a beast. We've seen him in the Champions League. We know what he can do. We've got Ismail Assar, who I'm really tempted to put as a must-have, which is really, really controversial. And I don't know how confident I am in that one, if I'm completely honest. But when I'm building my wildcard team, he's kind of the first player I seem to be putting in every time I make a draft. So for that reason, does that make him a must-have player? Genuinely maybe. Just because he is only 6.5 million, and with the absence of Mane, Sarr really is the kind of second star of this Senegal team, and just because of that, playing against Qatar, who just really did look so weak, I feel like if anyone is going to have the opportunities to score goals in that Senegal team, it's got to be Sarr, really. He's going to be on all the set pieces as well and taking penalties. There's just a lot of things that could go very well for Sarr in this fixture. So therefore, his price of all of the cheap forwards that I'm considering going for, and I feel like the method is probably to go for one or two premium forwards and then go for a third forward who is a little bit cheaper. Sarr seems to be the guy that continually sticks out to me. Enner Valencia, I'm going to put in next. I know he absolutely lit up that initial game, but for the second fixture against the Netherlands, I don't think we go for him. In fact, I'm arguably put him in a void. I don't think he's the player to go for. Again, if anyone's going to score for Ecuador, it's probably going to be him. But against the Netherlands, it's going to be a much different game than we saw against Qatar, and I don't think he's going to be able to, you know, put up the same performance. I don't think that's going to be possible for him playing against, you know, three really good, you know, Netherlands centre-backs there who defended well in the opening fixture. Ecuador, not a team known for scoring a lot of goals. I know I keep saying this, but the Qatar game really is the exception and not the rule for that team. So I wouldn't really be looking to get Ecuador attackers in this fixture. Let's put in Mitrovic, who I think is going to be available for this game, but it's a little bit of a risk. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow whether he's available or not. But if he is available, then I kind of feel like against Cameroon, he could be a really good pick as well. So he's one of my probably one of my favourite forwards to go for. I'm going to actually put him, assuming he is fit and available, I'm actually going to put him in a great option around the likes of Depay and Giroud there as well. Just because he is just, he's an absolute machine for Serbia. He really is. Go look up his stats for Serbia. He just scores so many goals. So assuming he is available and is going to be starting that game, he really is one of the players to look for. And 7 million is just such a price tag, a good price tag for him, because he is an 8 million maybe even more kind of level of forward if you compare him to the prices of some of these other players and their performances on the pitch. And Serbia, I do think, are going to be dark horses in this competition as well, and Mitrovic is going to be a huge important part of that, so a great option indeed. For Portugal, we're going to put in Cancelo. We haven't spoken about any Portugal players, so let's throw Cancelo in. I think even against a slightly more difficult opposition in match day 2, I still feel like he is going to be up there and one of the better players to get. Let's put him in, a great option, I think. The only thing that's kind of stopping me from putting Cancelo too high is because we have seen so many of the cheaper defenders actually do really well. And I've not included too many cheap defenders in this video. We speak about a couple of cheap defenders in my Matchday 2 wildcard video, so do go check that out. But there's a lot of 3.5, 4, 4.5 million defenders that I think are just going to pick up clean sheets in some of these easier games, or some of these kind of, I don't know, low intensity games against teams that don't have the elite finishers in the same way, and therefore maybe those are the guys to go for. But still, Cancelo is always going to be very much there or thereabouts. And finally, let's throw in some goalkeepers just to finish off this video. I'm going to start off with Damian Martinez, also known as Emi Martinez. I don't think he's really worth that 5.5 million price tag. So even though I think the chance of a clean sheet is actually not bad against Ecuador, I'm still going to put him in Mare, just because I think, again, we can do a little bit better in terms of value for money. I think we can do a little bit better. One of the players I think is better value for money is going to be Noppert. If he is the starting goalkeeper for the Netherlands now at 4.5 million, then he is going to be the cheapest goalkeeper from any of the major nations competing in this competition. We've got a good fixture against a team that doesn't score very many goals. Noppert seems therefore like a really good option, assuming he is going to keep that #1 in goal spot. In fact, so much so, I think for his price and for what he is, he's not a superstar necessarily, but he's definitely a great option, and I'm going to put him right the way up there. Really like the look of him. And finally, Ochoa. I know a lot of people are talking about him. Do we really back him against Argentina, though? Can't see a clean sheet happening there, so let's put him down in the avoid section. Maybe get a couple of saves, but even though we were disappointed with Argentina, even though Ochoa saved a penalty, you know, they wheel him out for the World Cups and he seems to do absolutely amazingly for Mexico, he's still going to back Argentina to score a couple of goals. So despite the fact he is that really high scoring goalkeeper for match day 1, I'm not sure he's going to be able to repeat that heroic behaviour in match day 2. So that's going to pretty much be the tier list. We've got a lot of players on there, a lot of interesting and different players that maybe some of you guys are thinking about, maybe you weren't thinking about them, but they're on the list now. If there's any other players that you feel like I haven't covered, I know there's no premiums on this list, for example, if you want to talk about them, that's fine. Leave a comment in the comment section and I will rate them on this tier list as well. But that's how we're going to leave it for now. The very controversial Sarr in the must-buy category, but he's just such good value for money, and I just feel like this Qatar team, really, we do need to be attacking them at every opportunity, you know, every single match day, and we're going to do exactly the same with Netherlands in match day 3, and you're going to see some Netherlands players in the must-have category in match day 3, but for now, we're going to leave it as that. Let me know what you think about this tier list. Have I got any of these players very, very wrong, very, very right? What else would you like to say about what you see in front of you right now? Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like. Really helps out the channel so much. Hope you guys are enjoying the World Cup so far. Even though the fantasy game has been a little bit messy so far, I'm really hoping they are going to fix things very, very soon. And hopefully I'll be able to keep you guys updated on what I'm doing with my fantasy team and whatever changes there are in the rules of World Cup Fantasy, because we have seen some rule changes as well. I'll let you know all about all of this over on Twitter. So make sure you are following me at FPL Mates on Twitter. That's where most of the discussion is happening from game to game. So join me over there. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. More videos for Matchday 2 coming up tomorrow, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.